We're reporting to you live from the Edwards kitchen where Kevin is making some homemade blue cheese. Tell us what's up.
Okay, well, this is just the first process. If you're using store-bought milk, you got to add calcium chloride to it, and the reason being is because it'll harden it up better. If you're using it like if you got it from a farm or something like that, then you don't have to. So anyway, that's the very first thing you do. And anytime you stir cheese, you don't really stir like that. You go in an up and down motion, and you pull it. You push it and pull it more than you stir it. So you're going to add some, and you just keep going like that. And then what we're going to do, because this is blue cheese, every cheese is different on temperatures. Blue cheese, you get up to 90 degrees. Once we get to 90 degrees, we add what's called the starter. And the starter is the miso, I can't remember how they say it, miso whatever, but it's the stuff that kind of makes it rot.
Gotcha.
It's not the stuff that curds it, it's the stuff that makes it rot. So once we do that process, that's this right here, miso. And then this is my blue mold right here. This is enough blue mold to make hundreds of rounds of cheese. So this is my blue mold, and this is it. So these go in once it's 90 degrees. It's got to be 90 degrees. And then once it's 90 degrees, we put that in, and it ferments for an hour, and it kind of rots. That's what makes cheese. And so it rots for an hour. And that's the next step.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, reporting to you live from the Edwards residence. Kevin is going to give you further instruction on the cheese making.
All right, first thing, sterilize everything. I mean, everything needs to be boiled in hot water because that'll mess your cheese up. Second thing, heat is almost everything. Heat is almost everything on your milk. So when I say this needs to be 90 degrees, I mean it needs to be 90 degrees. And I go just above it, like 90 point, you'll see. And it's real important because heat is what determines the kind of cheese you're going to make, pretty much. Okay, so it's 90.6. So it's about perfect. It's not even 91. Because you got to remember, it's going to sit here for an hour and ferment. So, just so you can see it, first thing we're going to do, we're going to add a little bit of blue. A little bit of blue mold. It really doesn't take much. I'm just doing it so you can see. But really, that's enough blue mold to do that whole thing. It'll just be covered because, you know, mold goes crazy just like yeast does. Okay, next thing is you add your starter. Okay, you just sprinkle it all over the top. And when you're using dried stuff like this, we let it sit 5 minutes before we go to stirring it in. And what that does is that makes sure everything's getting moistened before you go to stirring it in. Once you do that, put a lid on it, you let it sit for an hour. It rots.
Sounds good. Reporting to you live, we are checking out the next steps of making blue cheese. What is happening right now?
We are adding the animal rennet, which is what actually makes the curds, is what makes cheese. You got to mix it in a 1/4 cup of water. And again, this is after it's already done its rotting or whatever. And so we go like this. And we add the rennet. And we let it sit 45 minutes. This whole thing will be a big old chunk of curd. And where they say curds in the way, it'll be all separated from the milk and the curds. And I just checked it. We're still just above 90 degrees, which is good. You don't want anything hotter. You got to stir this in for a whole minute. After that, you put the lid on it, you let it sit for 45 minutes. And then you cut it up and start making curds.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. What's the next step?
Next step, we actually cut the curds.
Awesome.
It's not cutting the cheese. It's not the same. Cut curds.
There you go.
So come and look. See if it curdled up. See how it looks just normal like milk? But it's not. See, it's a big chunk of curds. Look. See how thick it is? All the water's down here now. See, the water's down here and the curds are on top. Fix to cut it up and do all that. Curds are going to settle. Water's going to come to the top.
Wow.
Water is whey, so curds in whey, so you pour off the whey. Right here, we're going to cut in about 1/2-inch strips all the way across. That's why you got to have a long knife. I think I never mentioned, but it's 2 gallons of milk. We're making a 2-pound cheese log cheese.
Cool.
So it's 2 gallons of milk. So you can see, look at that. See that?
Wow.
Yep. That's the curds. So now we cut them this way. See, it's separating the water. And then you let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. Let that water separate. You see it, look, it's checkerboard. And we're gonna go this way. See I'm doing that? You turn it. Do the same over here. What this does is make it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah, let that sit for.
Hey, we are back. What is the next step?
Now we stir the curds gently just for a little bit, but you do it every 5 minutes for an hour. Then you let it rest, then you pour the whey off, and then you add salt and keep stirring. Then about 10-15 minutes after that, you put it in your cheese mold and you flip the cheese mold every 15 minutes. Now you're making cheese and it's just going to squash itself till tomorrow, basically. So here we go. Here's what the curds look like. Look. Nice old curds. Look at them big old curds. Look at that.
Wow.
You can see the little mold pieces I put in there. That'll make tons of mold.
Yeah, I know.
You see it's separating from the whey. You see the yellow color is the whey. So you'll do this every 5 minutes for an hour, and you're just doing it to keep them from sticking, and it also breaks them down.
All right. Reporting to you live from our kitchen at the Edwards, where we are making blue cheese.
Okay, this is the last stir of the hour, so it's the last one. I just want to show you what it looked like with the whey and the curds separated. See how much water there's in there now?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you need to look. I mean, you can see, and then here's the curds.
Oh, nice.
And so they're like, you know, it's not cottage cheese, but kind of like that. It's curds. So that's what they're talking about when they say curds and whey. They pour off the whey and give it to the pigs and everybody because it's got stuff on it. That's the buttermilk, the butter fat right there.
Right.
That's why it's yellow. And you pour that off, you let it drain, and then you add the salt. And then from that moment, everything's draining. You put it in your 2-pound cheese mold, and you let it drain. You flip it every 15 minutes for a few hours. And then overnight, you let it sit, and then you're pretty much ready to let it sit and make cheese.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good job. Live.
Look, here's half my curds. Look how good they look.
Oh, that does look good.
Okay, and right here's where we add the salt. And so what I'm going to do is half and half. You got to use regular salt, non-iodized salt. It has to be no
Non-iodized, people.
Non-iodized. Okay, so there's one. Put another thing of curds in here. And letting them drain, getting a lot of that water off. See that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, got another one. 2 tablespoons of salt. Non-iodized salt.
Love that.
And then you stir it. And then after this, you let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then it goes in your mold, and you just start packing it in there. You got to get it all in there.
Love it.
All this is going to fit in there, trust me. It looks like it won't, but it will. And then what it's going to do is slowly drip out all that little bit of water. You know, there's water all the way still in it. It's going to get rid of all that. slowly pack itself. This is not a hard cheese. It's kind of like crumbles, right?
Right.
So, or you want it creamy in the middle, but it crumbles and creamy. So you don't put it in a press or nothing like that. The hard cheeses, cheddars, things like that, you put in a press, which I got. We'll do a video on that too.
Cool.
So
Looks great.
That's enough
Yep.
now.
All right, what's next, Kev?
next is we put it in the mold. Cheese mold, 2-pound cheese mold. Sterilized, clean, ready to go.
Awesome.
You got to work it in here though. A lot of times you can't get it all in here if you get a good batch of curds like this. It'll all get in there, but man, sometimes you really got to work it. Put the lid on there. Put the lid on there. Pack it in there. You have to make another one, a little 1-pounder. Let's see.
Wow.
This is where I like to go. Put it in this pot so I can start pressing. What I'll do is put it in here.
Halen, calm down.
Too hard.
It's just a repeated process. You have to keep squeezing
Yep.
it out and packing more in.
Yep. Because I got a lot of curds this time. That's good.
You sure did. I don't know if you'll fit them all in there, huh?
Yeah, well, it presses down. Gets all that water out of there and starts slowly going down.
Reporting to you live from the Edwards residence where Kevin is making blue cheese. Well, actually, he made the blue cheese. We're just checking it now. How far out are we?
Okay, this is 2 weeks in, but we missed a kind of one step in between. A week in, you come in with something about this size. This is I use a nut shell or whatever it is you want to use, something about that big, 16 penny nail or something like that. And what you do is you come in and make a bunch of holes. That way air can get in there. And air gets in there and makes it mold even more. But you can already see in 2 weeks how much it's already blued. On top and bottom. It's already starting. So, this is what you do. You got to take your, I'm going to put it there, and just poke you some holes. All the way around. The more holes, the better. And then you can, well, if you had smell-o-vision, you can already tell that's blue cheese, boy. All the way around. You just keep going round and round and round and round and round and round. Like that.
Looks good.
Yeah. And then look here. It's already blue cheese. Look.
Nice. I do see it.
It's already blue cheese.
It's so
Okay.
good.
So, supposed to do that a week. We didn't. I did it, but it was rainy here, so I ran out and did it real quick. I think Karen was at the doctor or something. But anyway, got her done. Now you just let her sit for at least 4 more weeks. You go out there and turn it at least once a week, twice a week, and that's it. Cheese cave. Cheese cave is super important. I haven't gone over that yet because I'm fixing to do the whole video on making cheese here in a minute, about everything you need. Cheese cave is where you put your cheese to ferment. It needs to be between 55 and 59 degrees at 85% humidity. It's got to be humid, humid, humid. Mine, I can't seem to get humid enough. I put enough water in there, it still don't. So what I do, personally, if you can't get it high enough, is I've found, you can even see the water on the plate, that if you just stick it in a bag, but don't close it, just like that, put it in your cheese cave and it seems to hold the moisture.
It's a good
Works
idea.
perfect. We'll come out again in about a week or 2. But anyway, this is 2 weeks old. It's going to go about 6 weeks. So 4 more weeks, we'll have blue cheese.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great job. I'm reporting to you live from Camp Edwards, where we're checking out Kevin's kitchen, even out in the outdoors.
You know what today is?
What?
Blue cheese day.
Hey.
Look, it's ready, y'all. I just wanted to show you the last and final step.
What is that?
This is blue cheese. Now look, this is normal. Say you got these little spots of mold Okay, you're supposed to have that. It's blue cheese, okay? You got it in here, but that's no big deal. Because when you're finished and your cheese is ready, you come in here, and this is what you do. You take your little butter knife, and you just scrape that top off like that, right? See how I'm doing it? Oh, got a little deep. You don't want to get too deep, because you don't want to take away a lot of your cheese. Just go like that. You can go all the way around. We're not going to for this video, of course. You can go just like that. Because you don't want none of that anyway, so it's no big deal. So, you get that done all the way around. Okay, no big deal. A little bit on the side, you're going to get those. But look here. This is what you want. Right here.
Oh my gosh.
Look at some blue cheese right there.
Oh, yum. Oh, I'm going in.
Okay. So, once you're done with that, you just keep doing it, and you just keep doing. That's all you got to do. Take that off, and it's ready to eat.
That's
How's it
blue
taste?
cheese.
It's blue cheese? Yeah, so the older you let it sit, right? You look at me? No, you're not. The older you let it sit, the stronger it gets. So that's how you get real strong blue cheese. You just let it keep going. It's no big deal. But you need to keep it in that bag like I told you, because if not, it will dry out. But mold will pop on. Just scrape that mold right back off and keep going until you're done. We're going to cut it like this tonight. We're going to eat on steaks and our salad, because it is ready, and we are ready to try it out. So, happy Blue Cheese Day.
Yum. Oh.
And tomorrow's St. Patty's Day, plus my son's birthday. He'll be 7 years old. So we're celebrating with a loaf of blue cheese.
Yay.
Yes, sir.